Hey, 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 what do you say? It's the Swypit Show here on the Success Network. And guess what? We're coming to you live today. Well, we're always live, right? Whether you're watching it or not watching it, making you think it's live, it's not live. Maybe it's recorded. I don't know. Is this recorded? Is it live or it's Memorex? Who's old enough to remember that commercial? But, anyways, yes, I am Kevin. It's the Swipe It Show. Of course, we'd like you to like. There's a little button there somewhere. I don't know where you might have it on your thing there, but click it that you like it. Maybe you want to share this. Maybe you want others to see what's going on. Who knows? I don't know who's listening. Pipe on in with a question. Maybe we can make sure that we see that. And of course, ask the question to a guest that we have today. I'm really excited about today because we've got a guy that is part of the inner circle. And I mean, it doesn't get it better than this on the inner circle. Let me tell you, the inner circle is what people want to do when they start working with the Swipe It team. They get access to people and things that they didn't even know existed, and we've got the perfect guy for the inner circle. He obviously is my agent, the books, the movies, the being seen on ABC, CBS, Fox, Bravo, A&E, and then of course Emmys and Tellys and XPs and all that crazy stuff. Well, that's because of this one individual here and his team. I mean, he's got a team of unbelievable people. He's got Angie and Lisa, and we in the past there's been Lindsay, and we've had Greg, and then there's of course Rami, and then there's Carlo, and we got all kinds of people. They're doing all kinds of stuff there, right? And that's what a team is. They all get together. They're part of the inner circle, right? You got to have that inner circle to make things work in the best way. And what's really cool is this guy is a good friend of mine. I've known him since 2015. I got introduced to him from one of my other clients. I've been fairly successful in business. It gave me the opportunity to go to him and say, "Hey, listen, I saw you did this book. I want to do a book." And he said, "Call this guy." And then, of course, the rest is history. And of course, now I'm a best-selling author and doing all this crazy stuff. And even got an Emmy. Look at this. You guys have maybe you never seen this. What this is an Emmy. That's what you get when you become an Emmy award winning person or Emmy award winning whatever, right? Well, Nick has got the big one. It's got the little stand at the bottom, but this is a real Emmy. And this guy here, this is for Freedom Isn't Free, the Folds of Honor story. You can always watch that on Prime, and along with everything else that somehow or another we're associated with. Maybe this thing will stay. I don't know. It might fall on us while we're talking. But yeah, a lot of fun there with Emmys and Tellys and all this crazy stuff. Look at this thing here. We got here is here's what this is called a Telly. You get one of these when you're doing some crazy stuff on internet and TV and stuff. This one's for the Brian Tracy story. Well, how did I get in touch with being able to do stuff like this? Well, that's from the fellow that I'm getting ready to introduce. Of course, he's got over 20, coming up on 30 Emmys himself. He has a record of excellence with documentaries, best-selling author himself. I mean, he's got. I'm just going to read some of this stuff. You can't keep this stuff in your brain, all of it. I'm sure he could rattle it right off. But how about from the slums of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, with special forces raiding a sex trafficking ring and freeing children to the Virgin Galactic Spaceport in Mojave with Sir Richard Branson, 22 time, actually more than 22, 22, 23, 24, 25. How many is it, Nick? We'll talk to you in a second about how many it is now. Award-winning director, producer Nick Nanton has become known for telling stories that connect. He focuses on the most fascinating subject in the world, people. That's what makes the world go around is people, right? As a storyteller and best-selling author, Nick has shared his message with millions of people through his documentaries, speeches, blogs, lectures, and best-selling books. And of course, Wall Street Journal best-selling list is available on Audible, Autobooks. Nick has directed more than 60 documentaries and a sold-out Broadway show. And of course, there's all this stuff that he does. It's crazy, right? I mean, who has a list of all those stuff? He's done and shared the stage with even Larry King, Dick Vitale, Kenny Chesney, Charles Barkley, Jack Nicklaus, Tony Robbins, Steve Forbes, Sir Richard Branson. I actually did a book with Richard Branson. I think I got it right here, right? Look at this. But this is a crazy thing, right? I got Nick right here. He's like over here somewhere. I think he's right next to Richard. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about the books and stuff. But of course, he's done stuff with Dean Kamen. You know who Dean Kamen is? He's the guy that with the Segway. You know, they made the Segway. He's got this crazy house up in Maine, I think. And you know what's really cool is this guy gets to go and he does. I'm trying to be all these same places he was. But anyways, Nick Nanton, welcome to the show. This guy is a good friend. Bring him in, Ryan. There he is. Hey, Nick, what do you say today?
Hey man, thanks for having me on, Kevin. Good to see you. Sorry, my voice is a bit rough, but we'll have fun anyway.
Oh, but listen, I'm so excited to have you on the show. We're going to be spending some time together next month. I'm super excited about that because you know what this guy's getting? This dude's getting a star on the Walk of Fame. Oh, yeah. Let's give a clap of hands for that. You know,
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you, one of these days I got to get that. I don't know. Maybe I got to have more things. Maybe I got to hang out with Peter Diamandis and Richard Branson, Steve Forbes, Tony Robbins. Who knows, right? I don't know. I mean, you've got this all going here. Tell me something. You know, what's your day typically look like? Think about all the stuff that I just said that this guy's doing, right? What does your typical day look like, Nick?
Well, there's a couple things about that. There's days when I'm home, like now I'm in my studio across the street from my house, and there's days when I'm on the road. Days when I'm on the road are could be anything. I leave tomorrow to go shoot a stage show for a client of mine up in the Boston area. So there's things like that. But I only travel. A couple things to know. I only travel 7 nights a month. That's sort of the guardrails my family and I, my kids, my wife and I all agreed to, so that I'm home more than I'm gone. If I'm gone for dinner, that's a half night, so that counts as well. So I essentially am. I have one adventure a week for 1 or 2 nights typically, and so when I'm on the road, it could be doing anything anywhere in the world. When I'm home, typical, it's not that exciting when I'm home. I'll usually get up and see my kids off to school. My oldest is driving now, so that makes life easy. We see him off. Usually we'll work out with my wife or run with a friend in the neighborhood. I take my first appointment at 10:30. I always try to do a lunch with somebody, whether it's my business partner Jack or a friend or someone who comes into town to have lunch with me. Just enjoy some time for lunch. I do appointments in the afternoon, phone calls, and I'm typically done by 5 o'clock so I can be at my kids' games or help out with practices or whatever. And the kids are, 17, 14, and 11. Well, almost 11 in a couple weeks. And so they're doing a bunch of different things at the same time. So we're in that phase of family life where it's hard to get everyone around the same dinner table a lot, but we work very hard at it. And, I just try to spend time with my family when they're sleeping or doing other things and I'm not working, like fishing and hunting. That's me. And playing guitar and songwriting. That's my deal.
You know, that's amazing. You know, I agree with you 100%. I've done everything in my power to try and be home for dinner. I think being at the dinner table is super important. You know, it creates a dynamic that there's a structure. But as my kids got older, my daughter's obviously in college now, so it went from 4 to 3 people. So my cooking standards was different. You know, it's like how do you buy for 3 people, not four? You know, that's a little weird in itself. And then my
Yeah.
son started his first job, so then all of a sudden we're down to 2 people eating, and so it's kinda weird, you know, I guess, doesn't your son occasionally is he working nowadays, or is he
He's almost well. He's at practice. He plays 3 varsity sports,
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he's always gone doing that. So yes,
well, you know, you're a busy man, and with all the busyness and everything that you're doing, you know, I'm just honored to have an opportunity to be part of your little crew of people. You know, there's no question that you know when we met back in 2015, I knew that there was a very unique situation of the dynamic of what you do for being my agent and being and doing stuff for me. But you know, if I wanted to talk about 3 things here. Let's talk about this right here. Let's pull out this one right here. So, soul of success, right? So this is you know the one thing that people don't realize is Nick is literally everywhere in my office here every day. I mean, you've been here, you've seen my office, and it's a homage to you. Look, I got my coffee mug here, right? I've got my little pin going here over here on this side. Have you seen this one around? I don't see too many people wearing this
Yeah, I
one,
don't
right?
see no, there's not many of those around.
Not many of those around, but you know, if if somebody was really interested in trying to understand what you do for people, I want them to understand like here there is in your section of this book that I'm also in as well with Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul series. You've got the keys to effective disruption, right? Tell us a little bit about what you feel those keys of disruption were when you were putting that in this book so that can, help people understand the dynamics of what you're doing.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't remember exactly what I wrote in that book. It's been a while, but I'll talk about keys of disruption today.
Disruption. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about. Look, I think, and disruption is interesting because it can be a negative term. Let's talk about innovation because I think it's another way to talk about that. Look, at any time in life, look, we're going through this right now today, going through a weird time in the marketplace, going a weird time, sort of hopefully post COVID, coming out of it. With markets doing crazy things, cryptocurrency, that whole world is way down. Still lots of supply chain shortages, workforce shortages. It's a really unique time. And so what we have to do is we have to look at what is it going to take for us to be successful, in changing conditions. And conditions are more or less always changing. Some are more
Yeah.
challenging changes than others, right? But all I would say is like I always just start with the first, like the most basic thing is, you know, who needs help? Who can I serve? Like who needs help at this time? What do I have the solution to for somebody? And I've always found that if I look at that first, not only can I be helpful in the marketplace, and sometimes I do it just to be helpful. After a natural disaster, or if my reach can help a certain nonprofit or whatever else, like how can I serve? But I've always found also if you stay on that track and just continue to learn, um, who needs help right now and how can I serve them best? What skill sets or resources do I have? There's often a business that can be had out of that as well, or a product or service offering that can exist within your existing business. And so that's typically where I start. What do people need right now? What do I have the skills or the resources or a unique way to tackle it? How can I make it so that it's valuable to them today and it can help
Yeah.
them, in whatever situation they're in?
Well, I know this organization that obviously, I already had a very successful company, and to me, everything that you were doing was like the icing on the cake, right? So it was giving me the ability to connect with people that I didn't have connections to, and like that's where, like, it just in our book that we did called Leverage, if anybody could see that, when we did the Leverage book, it was about PR, the secret, obviously it's a secret form of three things. There's media, marketing, and PR, which is stuff that you do. So if it was, you know, changing up my website, right? And doing things of that nature. What are the things that you're doing now that if people were interested in wanting to, jump into working somehow or another with the agency, what would you be helping those people with these days?
Yeah, look, I mean, so as you know, I mean, you've been involved in a lot of film projects. I've really spent the last decade moving further and further and further into entertainment and film and music. But I've got a great team running the agency. Look, the agency is a media, marketing, and PR agency. We help people who want to stand out in the marketplace, who have a story to tell. We help them share their stories so that they can be helpful to other people in the marketplace. It's funny. A lot of people often say, "Oh, I don't have a story. I don't need to tell my story," and that's fine. Or they're really reluctant, like nobody wants to hear my story. Well, nobody does want to hear your story if it's all about you. If your story is about how you can help other people and how you are a vessel to help people transform their lives, then they always want to hear about it. So it really is just the way you approach it. We help our clients share their stories, like yourself, Kevin, so that you can help even more people. Our agency, we created it and we still operate with the same main goal in mind, is to help the most people help the most people. What does that mean? To find the most people who are out there doing great things like you, Kevin, and help them to reach more people so they can help them. So in the end, we can have a great impact because we have a lot of great entrepreneurs and professionals who run great businesses, who serve their clients well, who solve their problems. And we just want to help them do more of that.
Exactly. And, and that's, a lot of people in a few minutes can realize how people can help them or not help them. And I remember just talking to you and Angie and Zach and Greg and Lindsay. I knew right away that this organization was a group of people that, while we all need to make a living, right? We want to surround ourselves with like minded people. And I knew right away, I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to not get away from these people? Because they're doing things to help others. And I found, and I even did a video, Who is Kevin Hodis, many years ago, that was, talking about in business, if you're not helping others in your community or helping others, you shouldn't even be in business because you're just a taker. And I don't like the word taker as much, but I will say that it could be really instrumental in understanding how business owners that just don't want to help others. And if they're just not helping others, they're just a taker. And your organization obviously has grown with more and more the connections, but I'm curious to know, how did you get like Jack Canfield to agree to doing compilation of books with us? How did you manage that? I'm just using Jack as one example, but you obviously, we do this multiple times with other people, Brian Tracy
Yeah.
and Jay and whoever else. But how did you get the first? Who was the first one, and how did you make that happen?
The first one was Brian Tracy, actually. And look, I did the way I approach everything. I tried to figure out how could I provide value in his life before I asked for anything. I did the same thing with Jack Canfield. Funny, actually, with Jack Canfield, I talked to him and he said, "That sounds interesting. Send me some more information and or email me whatever it was." And so I kept trying to reach him. Finally, I would see him a couple times a year, but then once he left, I couldn't reach him. So I ended up sending a recording a video, uh, like in my setup in my studio at the time, saying, "Hey Jack, Nick Nanton here. I've been calling you. I've been emailing you. I've been sending carrier pigeons. I cannot reach you. All I'm trying to do is
Yeah.
do what we talked about." And I FedExed him the iPad. And then I saw him a couple weeks later, and he said, "Nick, I got the iPad. That's really clever. You know, the problem is I've been out of the country more times than I've been in the country. So I've been super busy. I felt really bad. I almost sent you back the iPad, but here's the thing. My daughter really wanted an iPad, so I gave her the iPad. Call me next week, we'll do the deal." And that's how I ended up getting that deal done. But again, I stayed in front of him and made sure that he knew I was just trying to provide value for both of us. And ultimately, it was just something as silly yet simple as sending an iPad. I mean, at the time, it was probably $1,000,
Woo.
but no one else was sending an iPad for
Right.
$1,000. So, and we've done millions of dollars in business together, but most people won't put their money where their mouth is and won't take the risk. I was willing, as something as silly as an iPad, to show, hey, I don't expect you to do something for nothing. Here's $1,000 iPad with a video message on it. Do with it what you will. Doesn't always work, but oftentimes it does.
Yeah. I love all that unique stuff because those are the kind of things that I do with my clients. Because, even in the slimy world of credit card processing, you got to stand out. And luckily enough, I've built a 100% referral based business with my clients selling us and, taking care of people. And it all boils down to how your clients are being taken care of and what's involved with how that stuff works. But, I I think it's commendable when you start one, just like you did. I mean, you had to make connections to do the Larry King stuff. Obviously, there is some things coming out with Dickie V. I'll let you mention that quickly, but I do want to show you, this if people haven't seen this. This was something I received. Where do you open it from? Hold on a second here. This is a I don't know if it still works. Yeah, look at this. Look at this, huh? Look at this. Yeah, remember this, Nick, when you set this out?
Yeah, I
So
do.
this is a really cool thing that I received from Nick, and of course, I show this to a whole bunch of people, right? So it's a really unique thing. It's got your little video that you made, and it came in a really cool box. Now, of course, I've been a client of yours, and you're a client of mine for many years, and we're you still sent it. You didn't have to, but you did, right? Because you know what? It's just what we do, right? And that's what really separates the unique relationships And relationships is really the true key to business that people really do miss. And like just in if we go to the old Performance 360 book, right? So if we go back to Performance 360, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I want to talk about this right here. Is what you guys have said is that the people that are the most successful experts are motivated to tell their story. And so what you've done is you've created relationships based on storytelling, which relates back to music, which you're one of your first loves. And then of course with the relationships and the expertiseness, maybe I make them a word there. Maybe that's my own word now. Expertiseness. And of course, you're doing these cool movies and stuff. I mean, I'm in my office here. I got Brian Tracy, we've got Jay Abraham, and now I'm working with Jay. Jay, we've been trying to work together for 5 years now since we did the flick up here. But I get to do stuff with you that really is so awesome. And I don't know, it's like a drug or something with you. I don't know. I'm like addicted to the Nick Nanton way of doing things, and I like it, and I don't really feel like it's like hurting me or like somebody's taking advantage of me or anything. I enjoy the friendship. I enjoy, you get together with Carlo. Better yet, you were here in Frisco and we were doing my military appreciation night. And what did you help do with that for me? If you,
Yeah, yeah. No,
I'm
we
alluding
filmed
to
that.
half thing over here.
Yeah, we filmed that, and it was incredible. We actually just entered that in the Emmys. Made a
Yay!
really cool, you know, just cover what you're doing for military appreciation, which I certainly am a big fan of, and I got to tell some good stories. Look, your story, no matter again, if you're telling your story for your own benefit, don't bother telling your story to help others and to share with others and to help them avoid mistakes, to learn, to help them understand how you can help them. Then do it, and when you do it that way, your story is the only thing in the world that no one else can copy. You're the only one who's lived that exact story. And because most of us are not narcissistic egomaniacs, we don't think our story is a big deal because we lived it. It's like Shaquille O'Neal doesn't think dunking a basketball is a big deal. He was just born that way. He just does it. And so most of us don't think our story is that big of a deal because we lived them. It's just the way we were raised, just what happened to us, just the way we were born. And so, but we got to stop doing that, and we have to actually honor and acknowledge the things that are unique in our stories that can help other people. And when we
Yeah.
start to share those things, it's amazing how magnetic you become to others because they see something in you that will help them live a better life, solve their problem, or ultimately help them
Yeah.
get to where they want to be.
And that brings me to my next question is you came here to the United States from Barbados when you were 1, and your dad opened up a store here in the Orlando, Florida area. I'm not sure exactly
Yep.
where, but it was a furniture store. But what changed in your life from that? What was the real reason your dad and your family moved here from Barbados?
Yeah, they wanted more opportunity for me and my brother and a bunch of our cousins and uncles and aunts moved up at the same time. My grandparents, both sets of grandparents, they wanted more opportunity. I mean, Barbados is an amazing island. It's gorgeous, but at the end of the day, it's 166 square miles, and they just didn't see the types of opportunities that they could see in the U.S. for us. There's just more, just a bigger field to play in, and so that's why they came here. And they've been, we growing up. I mean, my parents had some ups and downs, struggles, sort of rebuilding life in a whole new country, but we learned so much about life and how to serve from them. It's been invaluable.
Yeah. So, well, that brings me to, why do you do what you do?
I love helping people, man. And they say authors write the book they needed to read. It's the book they needed to read the most. I would also say that most entrepreneurs build the business they needed to hire the most. And so I do what I do because I always wanted to provide value to people. But in order to provide value to people at the highest levels, you have to be invited. You have to have a proverbial seat at the table. And if you don't have a seat at the table, they don't know you exist and you can't help anyone. And so I built a business to help me gain the credentials and I had to be good at what I did. That's sort of a given with the clients we work with. You have to be good at what you do. Otherwise, it's all just fluff. But if you're good at what you do and we can build your credibility and your credentials around you and share your story, then you do get invited to those tables. You do get invited into, life-changing conversations with people who are at the top of their game. And to me, that's really fun, and I love doing that. I've enjoyed it for myself, and I love doing that for my clients.
It's good. I love the fact that I get the opportunity to be, with Rudy, right? Next month, I'll be with Rudy, and we'll see if Sir Richard Branson, maybe is he invited? Is he coming? I don't know.
Richard, probably not.
Well, you're getting this star on the Walk of Fame, and it's not because you're, thieving, stealing, cheating people. You're getting it because you're truly honored for the opportunity to receive that honor because you've earned it. You've done things for people, you've helped them in ways that nobody else is doing. You came here to the Dallas DFW area and you went and met with Glenn Beck, who, uh, is helping Operation Underground Railroad with Tim Ballard. And I mean, how awesome is that you get the opportunity while you're filming to go out on this raid that you did? And I mean, if anybody ever watched that, or when they get to see it, right? Or like I've seen it. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, tell me about that experience with Operation Underground Railroad when you guys went in.
It's I never expected that in my life. We of course are not law enforcement or special forces or operators, so we just filmed it. But it was crazy. I mean, just seeing the way how dedicated these people are, who are searching the globe every day. I'm in the middle of a big operation with them right now, filming a big project. They're traversing the world, um, trying to rescue children, women and children who are being victimized, as well as trying to get the perpetrators who are abusing women and children, either digitally or physically, behind bars. And they are relentless about it. So it's been mind blowing and a real blessing to just be any part of that, because it's just there's very few people in the world who are fighting evil on a daily basis that way, and they are. And so it's been an honor for me, and it's been crazy. I mean, just to see. I mean, I've been all around the world with them. I've been to Haiti, Colombia, Mexico, Iraq. It's been crazy to see it all, but also a total blessing.
Well, I'm really interested is, I love that part. So when I tell people that we're a different type of credit card processing organization, they're like, "Oh, you guys are all the same." Well, I always say, "Listen, this is the difference. Is we're going to provide a similar solution, but are you wanting to know that profits from my company, Swipe It, are going to help families of fallen soldiers that help give you the freedom to be here today? Or do you just want to work with any Tom, Dick, or Harry that is just taking your money, making a commission?" And that's what I love about what you're doing is it's not just, these are documentaries, right? And these documentaries, a lot of them that you're doing are all about, one, thing or another, right? Esperanza. Let's talk about, that was back in 2010 or 12, I think.
I don't
Tell me
remember
about,
exactly, but it's been a while.
yeah, tell me a little bit about Esperanza and what that meant to you, because I think was that one of your first ones that you went out of the country to do?
I know I'd done a few before that, but that was actually a follow up to as I had done a film with that same organization in the Dominican Republic before that as well, where they give microloans to women-owned businesses. They found most of all in that culture, they give money to men. The men typically drink it away, gamble it away, and run off. Women, because they're at the very least raising their children, stay put. And so they found that they could really help a lot of women-owned businesses. Um, with that. And so, they it was founded by former pro baseball player Dave Volley, played for the Seattle Mariners. And they've now for more than 20 years been giving microloans to women-owned businesses and really helping change the way they operate, helping them actually start something for themselves so they can actually feed their family and prosper. One of the women we interviewed actually built. She lives in a very downtrodden area of Dominican Republic, and she built a concrete block home that comparatively looks like a castle. And people would ask her, why wouldn't you move out of this place? You have a successful business. And she said, because I want to show other people what's possible. This is where I'm from. This is where I'm staying. But I want to show people that you can come from here and make something of yourself. And so just amazing to see the stories of human resilience.
Yeah, see, this is what I love about working with you, right? How do I not want to continue to work with you guys? It's a whole process, It's like First and foremost, I was told about you guys, and I had already felt very comfortable with the situation. And then I start doing a bunch of this research, and I'm like, "Who is Nick Nanton? What is this guy? What is he doing?" Granted, this is in 2015. You'd been doing stuff for 5 or 7, 10 years, or whatever it may have been at that point. But like, what I came across, that it was the one thing about the car salesman. And, I don't even remember everything about it, but I was like, "The car salesman." Tell me
Yeah.
about what the car salesman was.
Yeah, Carman, a friend of mine, Tracy
Starman,
Myers.
is that what it was?
Yeah, really good client. Just had a great story of buying out his father's car dealership and like learning from his dad and sort of from the ground up. And he's built a really great business in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a multi-generational family business. And it's a great story of resilience and hope and risking it all. And so many of us have stories that we just, like I said, we just don't honor. Like it's not a big deal because we did it. But Tracy, that was one of the first documentaries I ever made. He let me share his story, and it was cool how most people wouldn't think a story about a car dealer would be very interesting, but the elements in your story are typically not what are magnetic. It's the human conditions that are in your story. It doesn't matter if you sell cars or process credit cards or rescue people from human being trafficked by evil people. I mean, it's the human emotions that we all can feel together
Yeah.
that tie all these things together and make these stories worth hearing.
Well, there's a process of how to do that in a way that makes it so dynamic. And that's what you do, Nick. I mean, I obviously had my little mini movie made, and eventually will have my story out there because I think it's a little unique as well. But I mean, it's what you're doing and how you're doing it that portrays the people in those documentaries. I mean, I have been in the room on many occasions for many different uh, screenings of a organ, of a documentary. Like, for example, when Jay was getting his done, when he was getting his done, when we actually premiered the Jay Abraham story, uh, getting everything you can out of all you've got. But when we were doing that, he still thought he was getting punked. He Tell that story. I don't know if you remember it or not, but he thought that he was just waiting for somebody to come out and say, "This is all a big joke," right?
Well, we all feel that way, right? Because again, we've lived our lives, and Jay has done a great job at serving a lot of people. And it's a different, sort of a different idea when someone's going to actually make a full featured documentary about you. So yeah, Jay was super gracious about it, and fun, and I've learned so much from him. He's a really good guy, and it's just all about finding. For me, it's about finding stories that I think will help other people. Like when I was young, I had heard my tennis coach actually gave me a set of pirated Tony Robbins CDs, which I've apologized in person now, by the way. And Tony he said, "I get it, understood," but I couldn't afford that stuff. I couldn't afford to go to those events. I couldn't, and so my goal with these films is to make a body of work that will educate the kids or even the adults who are the next generation of, no matter their age, of people who want to make a difference, who want to be great entrepreneurs, who want to give back, who want to serve. And so I try to create inspirational content around a lot of these ideas, not just business, but around like human trafficking and how one guy saw an opening and how he could help more people in the world. And hopefully these films ultimately will end up inspiring other people to go, oh man, I can do something different. Same story with Rudy, with Dickie V. We've done a bunch of these different stories, and some of them are about business, some are about sports, but none of them are really about sports or business. They're about people who showed up and took the opportunity they had, got beat in the face a lot of times, took their lumps, got tackled and had a lot of setbacks, but they were willing to show up the way that they were called to serve, and they ultimately have inspired millions of people around the world and help people either make more money, start more nonprofits, or achieve their dreams.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And it's great to be around people like that. And I find that every time I'm around people like that, it makes me more humble, and it makes me want to like help more. We did the Folds of Honor movie, and I was friends with, excuse me, we were up in Nashville, and we were filming up there in John Rich's house, and I called you. I said, "Hey, how would you like to have John Rich in the film?" And he goes, "Man, you were like, yeah, that'd be great. We've been trying to get a hold of him, but because I was friends with John before, so it was perfect to be able to get him into the flick and then show up. I was there for the filming of it. It was awesome. So now I'm going to two Folds of Honor events now. I'm doing Folds of Honor event here. I'm doing my own military appreciation night benefiting Folds of Honor, and now I'm going up to Folds of Honor up in Nashville every year at John's house. But it's doing things that are helping others that I really love about what you folks are doing. And I say it over and over, but people help people. And if you're around people like-minded like yourself that like to help others, you'll find that you just are become very successful. And then people see you in a different way because it's not just about making money, it's about helping others. And we can't help sometimes making money. It's just a byproduct of doing the right thing by others and
Yep.
working differently and being, you have to have you become an expert in your field, whatever that may be, and you just keep moving forward to do the right thing. But I was wondering, what was one of those moments in your life that changed you forever?
Oh man, I've had so many. I'd
I
say
know.
certainly look, being with with Operation Underground Railroad in Haiti, watching these children get rescued for the first time since they were, sort of duped into going with this woman who said she was going to take care of them when these children's parents died in the Haitian earthquake 8 years later, to see them being rescued. And honestly, they didn't even understand they were being rescued because they didn't know they were being held captive. Really, it's just the way their life had always been, and just seeing things like that. I mean, getting to tell the stories of people like Rudy and Dickie V, and sort of, being able to tell Larry King's life story. I mean, just sitting down face to face with icons, people who are not famous for being famous. They're famous because they've really done something extraordinary. They've really inspired a lot of people. I've just had so many moments where I've been able to go, to learn at the feet of just masters, and that's what I enjoy the most, being able to to learn from people who've been there and done it, and see, how what lessons might I be able to carry forward, not only in my own life, but also in the lives of others who might be watching.
Yeah. Is there any challenges right now that you're, most worried about facing? Anything of that nature right now?
No, just my daughter getting older. That one scares me, but other than that, I'm good. You,
I
you, you
know.
you're experiencing that too. So
Oh, it's totally weird, like, driving around, like, where are they?
yeah,
How did that happen, right? I remember them crawling on the floor, and now they're driving around going, "Daddy, I'm going out to see friends." I'm like, "It's 10 o'clock.
yeah,
Where are you going at 10 o'clock at night?" "Well, that we're going out, you know, well, don't be doing anything bad, you know."
right.
Be good. Actually, I think that, we're groomed, obviously, as thank God the time doesn't go by so fast. It goes by fast, but it goes by slow enough that we're gradually able to agree to our own psyche of realizing that our kids are growing up and, moving on. It's like your son, right? He's driving around, and it's like, where is he right now? Tell me, where is he? Do you know?
He's across the street right there.
Oh, he's not like hanging with friends playing video games or
No, he
something.
was he was volunteering at Vacation Bible School this week, so he just got back in
There
a
you
couple
go.
hours.
That's good. Maybe I should have sent my kids off to camp, right? Oh man. So obviously being associated with you guys and what you're doing is, everything I have is completely surrounded about, what you folks are doing. Like my whole business structure changed based upon the stuff that you're helping with me. And I don't think people grasp what they really need to do in business to really succeed. And they have to understand that there's a group of people that have to be part of the process. You can't do everything yourself, and I've even learned that from you. We've been in discussions where how do I do this? And then, I'm like, hey, maybe I'll put this in action over here. This might work. But, at the end of the day, we're trying to help other people. And that's what I love about what you do. I'm totally honored to be associated with the organization. I don't know how I'm ever going to stop working with you in some shape, form, or another. How do I stop? The umbilical cord has got to be cut. No, I don't know, but so I've got some 10 quick questions for you. Well, I say 10. whatever I wrote down here. All right, because I know there's a couple of things here. You ready? This is just really quick ones. 10, a few questions, right? So, what's your favorite car?
Favorite car?
Yeah, do you have a favorite car? You don't have
Yeah,
to know I'm a car nut.
classic Land Rover, like vintage Land Rover, vintage Bronco.
Whoa. See, I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, favorite color?
Black.
Black, baby. Favorite food?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would
Sushi.
go between Italian and sushi every meal.
I know we've had some good sushi in Nashville.
Yep.
Uh, just out of curiosity, what'd you eat for breakfast today?
I don't eat breakfast.
What? You don't eat breakfast? That's the
No,
most important meal of the day.
I think that's garbage.
All right. What's the favorite thing to do with your family?
Uh,
I know fishing's up there.
yeah, I mean, my whole family doesn't love fishing, so I can't say that fairly. Um, man, we hang out in our backyard a lot. We watch movies together. We go. My kids are like again, they're 10, 14, and 17, so they're all at different ages, but they all love Dave and Buster's right now. They can always find something fun to do there. So making pizzas together is fun too. We stuff like that. Going to
Oh,
the
yeah,
beach.
cool. I
Yep.
love it.
We got some cows and a donkey at our little ranch place. We enjoy going over there too, riding four wheelers and stuff.
I love it. I love it. So what was your last movie you saw in the theater?
Oh gosh. I think the new Spider-Man one. My family dragged me to see that one.
I was wondering if you're like me. I don't really go to see a lot of movies because I actually have a better home theater at home than the
Yeah,
movie sound at home.
yeah.
I mean, at the movie theater. So
I
it's
fall
kind of hard.
asleep in movie theaters. It's like just too. It's too easy. Like someone's gonna leave me alone for 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I prefer to watch them at home. I do want to see Maverick. Of course, I hear it's great,
Oh,
but
yeah, it is good.
I'm probably gonna go see that next week on vacation with the family.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really good. There's certain movies you just got to see on the big screen, right?
Yep.
That's definitely one of them. I can't wait to hear it at home just to compare what I think I heard and whatever, but it's definitely pretty good out there. Um, all right, so my last little quick question is, do you sing in the shower?
No, I don't actually.
Yeah, but do you think of songs while you're in the
Oh
shower?
yeah, of course. I think. I mean, I write a lot of songs. So I'm always thinking of what the next song's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, at least right now we're doing something next month or in July. Tell me a brief little bit something that we could talk about because I think there's a guy that's singing a song in there. I think there's
Yeah.
some things. Just give a little bit what we're able to say.
Yeah, so well, you of course helped me with the Dickie V documentary, executive producer on that. We told the story of the legendary basketball announcer Dick Vitale, commentator, and we're finishing the documentary right now. It is sold to a major network, which it will be coming out the announcement the next couple weeks. It'll be coming to that network in July. So really excited about that. And we did I along with a couple of my buddies. One has a Grammy nomination. The other one the other one wrote three number one songs that have been on the radio in the last 12 months, three number ones in 1 year. And we wrote a song for that documentary that Darius Rucker performed for us for the documentary. So super
Hootie.
excited. Lots of cool stuff to come. So it's going to
Yeah.
be good.
I mean, just I don't know how it's like everything. It's like we could keep topping everything. It's like bringing it to a new level. It's still on the same field of helping people and bringing things out there, to tell people stories. But it's like it just keeps getting better and better and better, and I just love that. That's so awesome. I
We're
have
trying not
been
to get worse. So I'm glad it's working.
well, you're a dynamic guy. I mean, you really are. You say what you mean what you say, you do what you do, and you say you're going to do what you do, whatever it is, right? I've never felt like I was in a position of being taken advantage of in any scenario. And I think of a conversation we once had many years ago about there's other companies that try to do similar things like this, and like they're just saying bad things about your organization. It was years ago. I don't remember even know who or what it was. I don't remember, but I remember that, and I go, they just don't know you. They just don't know what you're doing, and they don't get it. and people are always jealous of others' success. Even I've had that even here in my office with people that were here, and I had to kick them out, and sometimes you just got to make changes that you have to remove the negativity. And uh there's a big part of my life that was changed because of people like Jack and Brian that have, they teach people you have to remove the negativity out of your life so that you could really move on, because it's just a beat down. So I've done a lot of that over the past 5 years, and I quite honestly have to thank you and your organization for doing that. I'm just so honored to be a part of your organization, whether it's a movie, it's a book, or doing the crazy stuff that we do wherever we're going. I'm honored. I think between, you know my website, the photos, because I even had a professional photographer coming here to help stuff for my website. And we got the movies, we got the books, we got Emmys, tellies, XPs, being seen on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Bravo, and A&E. you know um I know, what we're doing. It helps people, but it really makes me feel good knowing that I'm helping somebody in some shape, form, or another. And that's important to me in life. Just doing. There's that old saying, "Do unto others as you want done to yourself," and or what comes around goes around, right? So if you're taking care of people, it always winds up, coming into your favor in some shape, form, or another. Not, it could be in just the form of a friendship. And I've made some incredible, friendships like Coach Pete. There's just people that I've met through this 7, 8 year relationship with you folks that I would never have had ever. And it's just I'm honored and appreciative of all that you do and all the things that you do. And obviously, both of our families sacrifice a little bit of us being together in the same space sometimes, but they know what we're doing and they trust us, they love us, and they're going to let us do those things to benefit mankind. That's how I look at it. And I
No,
hope you,
man, it's been an honor working with you, and I look forward to what's next.
yeah. Well, of course, if people want to learn a little bit more about you, I know that they can go to nicknanton.com. Is there any other places that you'd like people to go or know about you?
No, that's one of the best ones. I mean, if I can be found on pretty much all socials, just at the handle Nick Nanton, and no, man, thanks for having me on and for doing all you do to help out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, with that said, let's get Nick back to his crazy schedule of working on books and movies and all that stuff. And of course, you're listening and watching to the Swypit Show on the Success Network. And if you like and or trust and or think it's good, go ahead and share it. And by the way, Nick did create the Success Network, where we've got Brian Tracy and Jack Canfield and Jay Abraham on it. You can always go there and check that out. But don't forget, we'll see you next time on the Swipe It Show. And don't forget, remember to do what you want when you want. Take us out, Ryan.